What if every single thing you've ever felt, every thought that's crossed your mind, was not a fleeting experience? What if it was a language? A silent, energetic broadcast your body has been transmitting to the universe your entire life. Long before your mind learned to speak, your body was a living radio, sending a signal that shaped everything you see, feel, and experience. And what if the reason your life has felt chaotic or stuck is because that radio has been broadcasting static? Today, we're going to uncover the most profound secret of your existence. We're going to decode the silent conversation between your body and the cosmos. And by the end of this journey, you won't just know the truth, you will feel it. If you are seeing this video, it's not by accident. Something within you has already shifted. The final threshold isn't just a concept. It's a profound spiritual awakening you're already experiencing, and you're ready for what comes next. The body's been listening long before the mind learned to speak. Within that silence lies a truth most people never notice. Every emotion you feel, every thought that crosses your mind, every quiet whisper of belief you carry is not confined inside you. It travels through you as vibration, as frequency, as invisible sound that your DNA hears. You don't have to try to communicate with the universe because your body already does it on your behalf. DNA is not a silent strand of biology trapped inside the nucleus of your cells. It is a living instrument of perception, a field of light that constantly receives and transmits information between you and everything that exists. When you feel joy, the molecules in your body expand into coherence. When you feel fear, they contract into survival. Each emotion becomes a code that instructs the body on how to shape reality. The universe doesn't respond to your words. It responds to the energetic tone your DNA translates. Modern quantum biology has shown that this code is fluid, intelligent, and responsive to consciousness. Russian biophysicist Fritz Albert Popp called DNA a light transmitter, and researchers discovered that strands of DNA emit faint pulses known as biophotons, rhythmic flashes of light that mirror emotional states. When a person is calm, the light flows in smooth patterns. When anxious, it flickers chaotically. You are not just surrounded by light. You are built from it, and your DNA sings this light into form every second. Most people move through life unaware that their internal dialogue has biological consequences. The mind complains, the heart tightens, the breath shortens, and this cascade of tension alters the electromagnetic signature of the entire system. DNA is the listener. It records every vibration you emit. It adjusts the geometry of its spiral according to what you repeatedly feel. In moments of peace, the spiral loosens. In moments of fear, it constricts, protecting, but also limiting you. What you call emotion is not only a psychological reaction, it is a field instruction. Every time you fall into despair, your DNA receives that pattern and begins to broadcast it outward, creating experiences that echo that same frequency. The field does not punish, it mirrors. The reflection may come as people, events, or coincidences, but all of them are translations of the information your body has been sending. This is how reality functions at the quantum level. The signal of your DNA interacts with the larger quantum field, and the field organizes matter according to resonance. Two frequencies that match always find each other because coherence is the law of the universe. So when you maintain the vibration of gratitude, opportunities aligned with gratitude appear. When you hold fear, circumstances that validate fear emerge. The bridge between the invisible and the visible is not luck or destiny. It is biology communicating with consciousness. There is an intelligence inside you older than thought, one that listens without judgment. That listener is your DNA, and it never sleeps. It constantly measures the frequency of your state and tunes your physical reality accordingly. This is why meditation, silence, and emotional awareness have power. They are not spiritual metaphors. They are tools to stabilize the signal you send. When the mind becomes still, when the heart expands, the noise disappears, and the original frequency of your being emerges. In that state, DNA begins to vibrate as it did in its purest form. The biophotons around it pulse rhythmically. The electromagnetic field of the heart synchronizes with the brain, and a communication line opens between you and the field of creation itself. This is not mysticism. It is structure. Everything that exists vibrates. Every vibration carries information. DNA is the translator between those two worlds. Over time, these emotional patterns create the lens through which you see life. People think awakening is about learning something new, but often it is about remembering how to feel. Again, when you allow yourself to feel fully without resistance, you send a pure signal. The field can then respond without interference. Every cell in your body begins to recalibrate because the instructions it receives are coherent. The spiral of life, the sacred geometry of DNA, turns in rhythm with the greater cosmos. You are no longer a fragment trying to survive. You are part of the conversation of the universe. The listener within you and the field around you are one and the same. The more you trust this communication, the more effortless manifestation becomes because it is no longer a technique. It is biology fulfilling its design. Look at your life now and notice the echoes of your past frequencies. Every relationship, every opportunity, every challenge carries the imprint of the energy you once sent. The purpose of awareness is not to judge those signals, but to understand them. Once you realize that your DNA has always been listening, you begin to choose your tone more carefully. You choose peace not as a moral ideal, but as a biological necessity. You choose love because it creates coherence in the field. You choose silence because in silence the language of light becomes audible again. The truth is simple and infinite. The universe is not out there. It is inside the strands of light that shape your being. Listening, translating, responding. Your DNA is the antenna, the bridge, the silent witness of every frequency you become. And the more consciously you live, the clearer its song becomes until one day you realize that the music you were trying to hear has always been the sound of your own light. Coherence is not something to achieve. It is what happens when you stop interfering with your natural light. You do not need to chase awakening. You only need to stop scattering your photons in 1,000 directions of fear and doubt. Gather them through breath, through stillness, through presence, and let them move as one stream of awareness. Your DNA will hear it immediately. It will shift its rhythm, open its structure, and the light within you will flow freely again. That is the moment when biology turns into luminosity, when science meets spirit, when you remember that the true language of life is light and you were born fluent in it. Reality does not answer to words. It answers to vibration. Every signal you send out becomes a magnetic thread woven into the quantum field. And the field never ignores a signal. It mirrors it. The reflection is not always immediate, but it is always precise. Every feeling, every silent thought, every pulse of emotion that travels through your body is recorded as frequency, and the universe responds to that frequency with mathematical accuracy. What you call coincidence is the physics of resonance unfolding around you. When fear becomes your constant tone, DNA transmits that pattern like a radio frequency. The molecules in your body tighten, and that tension emits a specific electromagnetic signature. The field reads it as a command and sends back experiences that match the vibration of danger. That is why people who live in chronic worry often attract circumstances that confirm their fears. It is not punishment. It is coherence. The field must remain consistent with the signals it receives. The opposite is also true. When your state of being radiates trust, the same field reorganizes matter to support it. DNA expands. Cellular light increases. The heart generates a strong harmonic field, and life rearranges itself to mirror that coherence. Reality does not happen to you. It happens through you, translated by the electromagnetic dialogue between your DNA and the quantum field. This interaction is constant, even when you are not aware of it. Each moment is a transmission. Each emotion, a frequency code, and the body is the transmitter. This is why awareness is not philosophy. It is technology. When you become aware of what you are feeling, you regain access to the control panel of creation. Awareness allows you to adjust the signal before it becomes a physical event. You begin to realize that every external situation is a feedback loop of your internal vibration. The people who frustrate you, the delays that test your patience, the opportunities that appear out of nowhere, all are mirrors. If you respond with resistance, the signal distorts and repeats until it is understood. When you respond with acceptance, the path resolves, the lesson completes, and the frequency evolves. This process is the architecture of the field. It has no morality, only reflection. The field mirrors your dominant state, not your occasional wish. A moment of positive thinking cannot override hours of emotional contradiction. DNA listens to the overall tone, the accumulated vibration that defines your baseline frequency. You may speak about abundance while your heart vibrates in fear of loss, and the field will respond to fear, not to words. That is why inner coherence is more powerful than any affirmation. The universe speaks in energy, not language. It hears what your DNA emits, not what your lips declare. The mind may lie, but the body never does. It tells the truth through every heartbeat, every breath, every subtle change in rhythm. But when they synchronize, the field regains order, and order attracts order. You can feel it when this happens. Life suddenly feels smoother. People treat you differently. The same world seems to operate by different rules. Nothing external has changed. Only your signal has. You have entered coherence with the field. In that coherence, DNA no longer hides behind survival codes. It begins to unlock sequences that were dormant potentials that respond to higher frequencies. Those are not abstract ideas. They are measurable biological changes. Your immune system strengthens. Your brain waves stabilize. Your intuition heightens because all systems of the body are following the same vibration. You are becoming an orchestra that has found its tempo again. The difference between chaos and harmony is the quality of your signal. This is why the simplest acts carry so much power. A slow breath, a moment of gratitude, a thought of kindness all recalibrate the electromagnetic rhythm. Your DNA translates into light. The field detects the change instantly. It begins to realign probabilities around you to fit the new vibration. What you once called miracles are simply results of consistent coherence. When coherence becomes your habit, manifestation ceases to be effort. You are no longer asking the universe for things. You are radiating the vibration that makes them inevitable. The resistance comes from within, from memories, beliefs, and emotions that hold lower frequencies. They are not enemies. They are parts of you that need integration. Each unresolved emotion is a frequency still broadcasting from the past. To shift your life, you bring them into coherence by feeling them fully, without judgment. The moment emotion is felt completely, it loses distortion and turns into pure energy again. DNA registers this as release. The field registers it as expansion. This is how healing truly happens. It is not a battle against darkness, but a restoration of harmony between your internal frequencies and the light of the field. As coherence grows, the reflection changes. Situations that once triggered you lose their power. People who matched your old vibration drift away, replaced by those who resonate with your new tone. The shift can feel like loss, but it is simply reorganization. The field always chooses harmony. It will not hold patterns that contradict your current signal. Every new level of awareness brings a new set of reflections, and each reflection invites deeper mastery of your frequency. You start noticing how precise the feedback is. The connection is direct, not symbolic. The field does not play favorites. It obeys resonance. Understanding this turns life into an art form. You stop reacting to appearances and start adjusting your signal. Instead of asking why something happens, you ask what frequency in you it reflects. The moment you answer honestly, the mirror changes. The field is neutral. It will mirror any tone you maintain. This realization is freedom. It removes blame, fear, and helplessness. It places power back where it always belonged, inside the electromagnetic rhythm of your own body. When you breathe consciously, when you feel truthfully, when you think coherently, your DNA transmits clarity. The field cannot help but respond with clarity. That is how alignment becomes destiny. Inside every cell of your body lies an instrument far older than your mind. An antenna built from spirals of light. DNA is a living receiver, an exquisite bridge between consciousness and the quantum field. When you stand under the sun, photons penetrate your skin, carrying information from the cosmic field directly into your cells. Every thought, every emotional pulse, every subtle intention generates a quantum signal, and your DNA responds. It absorbs the vibration of your state and emits a corresponding pattern of biophotons, creating a feedback loop between your inner world and the invisible fabric of reality. Your DNA cannot lie. It speaks the language of your current vibration with perfect honesty. The key to transforming your life is not to manipulate events, but to retune the antenna itself. Most people try to change the reflection without altering the signal. But when you shift the inner frequency, the outer reflection must follow, because coherence always organizes matter. To retune the antenna, you only need awareness. Begin with breath, because breath is the manual tuner of the human system. Each slow inhalation sends a wave of electrical balance through the vagus nerve, calming the nervous system and clearing noise from the field. As the body relaxes, the heart's electromagnetic rhythm becomes more coherent, and that rhythm synchronizes with the brain. Once this heart-brain coherence is achieved, the DNA inside each cell receives a new order. The geometry of the helix subtly adjusts, expanding in amplitude, allowing light to flow more freely. Under stress or resentment, the spiral tightens, restricting the passage of photons. The antenna either opens or closes depending on the emotional frequency you broadcast. Over time, this tuning becomes natural. The more you sustain coherence, the stronger the antenna grows. You begin to notice that physical energy increases, that recovery from stress quickens, that insights come effortlessly. These are the biological consequences of resonance. DNA, now vibrating in harmony with the quantum field, generates an internal environment of order. Cells communicate more efficiently. Immune functions strengthen. Aging slows, and creativity expands. Life feels lighter. Not because circumstances change by chance, but because your inner signal no longer resists the flow of the field. You are living from alignment, not effort. Yet alignment does not mean perfection. It means continuous tuning. Every challenge that enters your life is a test of frequency, a chance to refine the signal. When you respond with presence instead of fear, you prove to the field that coherence is your new baseline. The antenna registers that stability and broadens its range, accessing deeper layers of potential. This is how evolution occurs in real time. The expansion of consciousness is the expansion of the body's ability to handle higher frequencies of light. Each wave of awareness upgrades the antenna, enhancing both perception and creation. You start noticing connections that once went unseen, patterns within coincidences, meanings within silence. You realize that intuition is not mysterious. It is reception. The field is constantly transmitting guidance. You simply learn to recognize its signal through the language of subtle sensation. When you trust those signals, reality bends gracefully around your choices because you are following the path of resonance. And the more you follow it, the more magnetic you become. Others feel it too. Coherence is contagious. The electromagnetic field of a coherent heart can influence other fields within meters, entraining them into harmony. This is why one calm person can change the energy of an entire room. In the end, understanding your DNA as an antenna of consciousness transforms how you see life. You stop asking why things happen and start realizing how you broadcast them. You stop chasing signs from the universe and recognize that you are the sign. The field is not outside. It is an extension of your biology, a mirror of your vibration, a canvas painted by your frequency. Every breath you take is another calibration. Every emotion, another transmission. When you hold love, the antenna glows. When you choose fear, it dims. The universe listens without judgment, echoing back whatever note you play. And when you finally learn to stay in harmony, you discover that creation has never been about striving. It has always been about tuning. You are not trying to reach the light. You are learning to broadcast it. Emotion is the most precise form of energy you will ever generate. It is the interface between thought and biology, the translation of invisible frequency into measurable chemistry. When you feel, your body does not simply react. It transforms. Every emotion releases electromagnetic patterns that ripple through the heart, brain, and DNA, instructing your cells how to behave. The universe does not move because of an idea. It moves because of the vibration behind the idea. And that vibration is emotion. You have been taught to control your feelings, to hide them, to intellectualize them. But in truth, emotion is the power that shapes matter. Each time you suppress what you feel, you're interrupting communication between consciousness and the quantum field. The signal weakens, coherence dissolves, and life responds with confusion. The field is always listening, but it listens to energy, not words. A single genuine emotion can accomplish what 100 affirmations cannot. This is why a moment of gratitude can alter the course of a day. Emotion is frequency encoded with intention. When you allow yourself to feel fully, your DNA translates that energy into light, and light instructs matter. Your cells do not distinguish between spiritual and physical energy. They respond to vibration. The heart emits the most powerful electromagnetic field of the body, and every heartbeat carries the signature of your emotional state. When you are angry, you broadcast discord, and it finds its echo. When you are compassionate, you broadcast harmony, and the field reshapes itself to sustain that order. What people call karma is often nothing more than resonance returning to its source. To master life, you must master the art of emotional frequency. Not through suppression, but through presence. When you can stand inside fear and breathe without judging, the vibration of fear transforms. It becomes energy, pure and usable. This is alchemy at its simplest, transforming emotion into light by allowing it to complete its circuit. Every emotion seeks resolution. If you resist it, it loops endlessly through your biology, becoming stress, illness, or repeating life patterns. If you let it move through awareness, it dissolves into coherence, feeding your field instead of draining it. The universe designed emotion as movement energy in motion. The moment you freeze it with thought, you interrupt evolution. When you let it flow, DNA hears the signal and adjusts, aligning your inner vibration with the next coherent state. This is how emotional healing becomes quantum transformation. It is about permission. You permit the body to translate emotion into frequency, and the frequency into form. Scientists studying the effects of emotion on DNA found that strands of DNA exposed to loving, coherent states actually relaxed and expanded, while DNA exposed to fear contracted. Expansion allows light and information to flow. Contraction blocks it. Your body is a living antenna, tuning to emotion, and emotion is the dial. Love, gratitude, joy, and compassion tune you to high frequencies of coherence, where communication with the quantum field is clear and precise. The field does not label these frequencies as good or bad. It simply mirrors them. You are the one who chooses the music. This is why the most advanced spiritual practice is emotional honesty. Pretending to be positive while carrying resentment does not create alignment. It creates interference. Honesty, even when painful, is cleaner energy than false peace. When you admit an emotion, you give the body permission to harmonize with it. And the harmonization restores coherence. True mastery is not about eliminating emotion. It is about holding awareness steady as emotion moves. You begin to feel the intelligence inside each emotion. Anger shows where energy was blocked. Sadness shows where love was lost. Fear shows where trust must be built. Each feeling is a messenger delivering information from the field. When you welcome the messenger, you integrate the message. Integration increases light. Your vibration rises naturally, and DNA records the new pattern. Over time, your emotional range becomes wider. Yet, your stability increases because you no longer identify with the waves, but with the ocean that holds them. That is the birth of emotional coherence, the foundation of quantum creation. The body becomes a clean instrument again, capable of transmitting high frequencies without distortion. Manifestation stops being effort and becomes resonance. You feel something, and reality begins to reorganize, not because you demanded it, but because the signal was pure. The field is a mirror, and when the image it receives is clear, the reflection is instantaneous. This is why joy is creative, why love heals, why gratitude multiplies. They are not moral choices. They are energetic mechanics. The universe runs on vibration, and emotion is the voltage that powers it. Every great teacher in history has spoken this truth in different languages. Feel fully, love deeply, forgive quickly. They understood that emotion is the engine of evolution. When you withhold emotion, you stall your own transformation. But when you let the current move, you rise with it. This is not sentimental softness. It is mastery of energy. It takes courage to feel. It takes awareness to stay open when life tests your coherence. But each time you choose to remain present instead of reactive, the field records your progress. Your DNA encodes the new stability, passing it as light to every cell. You start to glow differently. People sense it before they understand it. They feel calm near you because your electromagnetic field broadcasts order. You are teaching others through resonance. The emotion you embody becomes instruction for the collective field. This is how personal evolution contributes to planetary awakening. One coherent heart influences many. You do not need to convince anyone. You only need to emit clarity. The quantum field does the rest. It translates emotion into matter, vibration into manifestation, light into life. Every tear, every smile, every pulse of feeling is part of that translation. The universe listens, not to what you say, but to what you feel. So when you next find yourself caught between love and fear, remember this. Whichever you choose, your DNA will hear it, and the field will answer. Choose the vibration that builds coherence, the one that opens rather than contracts, the one that expands the light within you. Because emotion is not weakness. It is creation in its purest form. The heartbeat of the universe echoing through your own. Science once believed that the mind and body were separate. Yet now we know that every thought, every emotion, every breath creates an echo inside the body's most delicate architecture. Your nervous system is not a collection of wires. It is a living instrument that learns, remembers, and adapts to frequency. It records the vibration you live in, translating experience into the language of electricity and light. Each day, you send thousands of energetic messages through this network, and your DNA listens to every one of them. When fear becomes habitual, the nervous system learns that tension is safety. Muscles remain contracted, breathing becomes shallow, and the field around you tightens. Over time, this contraction becomes identity, a biological story of survival. You may call it anxiety, fatigue, or stress, but in truth, it is the body remembering an old frequency. The nervous system is loyal. It repeats what you teach it until you choose a new lesson. The moment you introduce coherence through breath awareness or gentle attention, the system begins to rewrite itself. The pattern of electricity changes. Neurons fire in new rhythms. Hormones rebalance. And DNA receives the signal that the environment is safe again. Safety is the prerequisite for expansion. No organism can evolve in fear. Evolution begins when the nervous system relaxes enough to let light flow. Light is information, and your DNA is the receiver. That is why healing often feels like remembering something ancient rather than learning something new. You are remembering the natural coherence that was always yours. When the nervous system shifts from defense to resonance, the entire body becomes a conduit for the quantum field. Communication between cells accelerates, intuition sharpens, and a sense of ease replaces resistance. You start to feel that life is not happening to you, but through you. This is not poetic imagery. It is physiology. Your heart emits a magnetic field that synchronizes with your brain, creating a unified electromagnetic pattern. When those rhythms align, coherence is achieved, and the nervous system broadcasts harmony to every cell. The body interprets this as truth, and DNA responds with clarity. Genes associated with healing and creativity become active, while those linked to stress deactivate. The code is fluid, constantly reading your frequency and adjusting accordingly. You are editing the script of your biology with every emotional state you sustain. The nervous system is the messenger, the translator between consciousness and matter. It tells the DNA what kind of reality to prepare for. If you live in fear, it prepares for defense. If you live in trust, it prepares for expansion. The field mirrors whatever state you embody. That is why awareness of the nervous system is essential to awakening. You cannot ascend in frequency while your biology remains trapped in old circuits of fear. The work is not to escape the body, but to teach it new music. Begin by noticing the signals of contraction: the tight jaw, the racing pulse, the shallow breath. These are not enemies. They are reminders. Each signal is an opportunity to reprogram the system. When you respond with calm observation instead of panic, you rewrite the code. You show the body that awareness, not threat, governs this moment. The nervous system learns from repetition, not intensity. Small moments of coherence practiced daily have more power than rare bursts of ecstasy. Each breath of presence trains the circuitry to recognize peace as the new normal. Eventually, peace becomes the baseline, and fear feels foreign. The antenna of your DNA now broadcasts stability, and the field rearranges around that stability. People feel your calm before you speak. Circumstances bend toward harmony without effort. This is the physiology of consciousness in action. The more coherent your nervous system, the clearer your signal in the quantum field. That clarity is what mystics called grace. Grace is not granted from above. It is received when you stop interfering with the natural rhythm of the body. The nervous system, once chaotic, becomes an instrument of order. You begin to sense the subtle waves of energy moving through you, currents that were always there but drowned out by noise. As the noise dissolves, communication with the field becomes two-way. You no longer send signals blindly. You feel the field respond. A thought brings tingling warmth in your chest. A decision resonates like a hum in the spine. A truth vibrates as light behind the eyes. These are not coincidences. They are the language of your awakened nervous system. It is the body's way of confirming alignment. When you live like this, guidance stops being abstract. You can feel when something is right because the whole system harmonizes. The nervous system becomes an instrument tuned to the universe itself. This is how intuition is born. Intuition is not magic. It is biology and coherence. When the body is at peace, it can perceive subtle changes in the field long before the mind interprets them. You start anticipating events, feeling the timing of actions, sensing the energy of people. The body becomes your most accurate compass. Deep within you lie sequences of light that have never been expressed. Dormant codes resting in the spiral of your DNA, waiting for the right frequency to awaken them. They are not mythical or symbolic. They are biological potentials encoded in silence, responding to emotion, to intention, to the coherence of your field. These sleeping codes are not about physical mutation, but about perception, awareness, and the capacity to hold light. Every time you rise above fear, every time you choose love, when reaction would be easier, you send a signal that reaches those hidden strands. The DNA responds like an ancient instrument remembering its melody. Its rhythm changes, its geometry opens, its photons brighten. You can feel this shift as warmth spreading through the chest, as tears without sadness, as a sudden knowing that does not come from thought. That is the awakening of light within matter. The body begins to recognize itself as energy, not density. This awakening is not a single event, but a continuous unfolding. Each moment of awareness lights another thread in the helix. Each act of kindness refines the frequency. Each breath of stillness strengthens the connection between your biology and the quantum field. You are decoding yourself from the inside out, turning potential into presence. The field records every signal you emit. And the stronger your coherence, the faster those dormant sequences activate. It is not about forcing change, but allowing light to circulate without resistance. The universe never withholds awakening. It only waits for the signal of readiness. Readiness is not perfection. It is surrender. When you surrender the habit of control, you release the tension that constricts light. DNA, free from contraction, becomes luminous. This is why states of meditation, gratitude, or forgiveness feel so expansive. They reduce biological resistance, allowing the energy of consciousness to flow unhindered through your cells. What most people call enlightenment is simply sustained openness. The nervous system stabilizes, the heart and brain remain in coherence, and DNA continuously receives the language of higher frequencies. Over time, this creates what ancient texts called the light body field of ordered photons, surrounding and penetrating the physical form. It is not something separate from you. It is you, fully remembered. The process is subtle. Sometimes it feels like gentle bliss, other times like exhaustion or emotional release. The body is learning to handle more current-old patterns stored as electromagnetic memories in the cellular matrix surface to be rebalanced. This is not regression. It is purification. Light reveals what no longer matches its frequency. And as those fragments integrate, the field becomes clearer. You are literally becoming more transparent to light. The physical evidence of this is coherent, steadier energy, fewer mood swings, a natural magnetism that cannot be faked. People begin to sense your presence differently because the photons your body emits are ordered. You have become a stable frequency in a chaotic world. This stability is not rigidity. It is fluid alignment. The more coherent your light, the easier it is for the universe to communicate with you. Guidance, intuition, synchronicity. These are no longer external miracles, but natural feedback from the field. The awakened DNA acts as a bridge between human perception and universal intelligence. You may notice that your creative ideas arrive complete, that solutions appear without effort, that time itself feels more flexible. These are signs that your consciousness is operating through an upgraded biological interface. The field and your body are functioning as one system of awareness. When you understand this, you stop treating awakening as a mystical reward and begin to see it as your most natural state. The codes of higher intelligence have always been within you. They only need permission to speak. That permission is granted every time you choose coherence over conflict. Each time you breathe into discomfort, instead of resisting it, you send light deeper into the helix. DNA learns from repetition. The more often you hold love in the face of chaos, the more stable that vibration becomes, and the more strands of light awaken. This is how a human evolves, not by escaping form, but by infusing it with awareness. Evolution is not upward, it is inward. The journey is not from earth to heaven, but from density to luminosity. The final illusion to dissolve is the belief that awakening has a destination. It does not. The field keeps expanding, and so do you. The light you remember now will continue to unfold endlessly, revealing new harmonies, new dimensions of love. You are a perpetual becoming, a song that never ends. The universe is not finished creating, and neither are you. Each breath continues the story. Each heartbeat adds another vibration to the cosmic symphony. There is nothing left to seek, only to express. The journey is not over. It has just returned to its origin, the place where awareness recognizes itself as everything. And in that recognition, peace arrives quietly, not as an achievement, but as a remembrance. You are the light that looked for itself and finally saw its reflection everywhere. You are the field listening to its own heartbeat. The universe experiencing its own beauty through human eyes. The awakening is not beyond this life. It is this life finally seen for what it truly is: pure consciousness folded into form, radiant, eternal, complete. If any part of this message resonated with you, if you felt a flicker of recognition in your heart or a warmth in your chest, it's because a part of your DNA just received a signal it was waiting for. This is your cue. This is your confirmation. You are not alone, and you are not just a body. You are a living instrument of light. If you feel this truth in your bones, I want you to confirm your awakening. Right now, in the comments below, I want you to type one simple phrase: Comment, "I am awake" to claim this truth and signal to the universe that you are ready to live from your full light. And, as you do, remember, you're not just commenting. You are declaring. You are beginning. You are returning home.